Hurndig found adventures aplenty, battling evil at every turn. Welcome to Raid Story Legends with me, LeilaFox. Hey there, welcome to Raid Story Legends. I am LeilaFox. This is a weekly YouTube series where I share lore from some of our favorite champs in Raid Shadow Legends. Now the story I have for you today is for Hurndig. Hurndig is a brand new legendary dwarf champ that is the fusion champion for June 2021. He looks pretty strong with his AoE decreased defense and AoE accuracy, and he has a nice unique kit. So let's get into his story and see how he fits in with the dwarf faction. In game, you can go onto Index, choose a faction, and up in the top left where you see I, if you click that, that's going to be lore information for the faction. So let's check out the dwarf lore. Masters of Hammer and Axe, the dwarves stood firm, thwarting the invading waves of Sirot's minions as they attacked their homes deep beneath the mountains of Teleria. Now, to quench their thirst for revenge, the dwarves march onto the surface to take back in blood and gold what is rightfully theirs. So we're going to get into the story for Hurndig, and you're going to see that his story fits in really good with the dwarven faction lore as a whole. So let's go check it out. Here is the story for Hurndig, and I hope you enjoy. No one among the people of Teleria can match the dwarves in mechanical ingenuity. For countless generations, they had perfected the union of engineering and arcane science, made all the stronger by peerless dwarven craftsmanship. Some artificers are said to have created clockwork automata that resemble birds and beasts, while others work tirelessly on building great machinery to ease the lot of prospectors deep beneath the earth. Yet with the Mountain King's hosts marching to the surface world once more, war has been the focus of all the great minds of his kingdom. Brass and iron flow in molten rivers in the underground manufactories, where the arquebuses and the cannon of the dwarven armies are forged. And many are the great dynasties whose hallmark graces those exquisite weapons. Few, however, can match the fame of Hurndig, the chief engineer of the kingdom. Hurndig always had a knack for metalwork and had been singled out by the artificers of the Cannoneer Guild when he was but a sapling. And like any true dwarf, he never shied away from hard labor, oft toiling at the blast furnace and the anvil himself. It was not just the inner workings of cannons that fascinated the young engineer, but also their undeniable might on the battlefield. He would not only make these beasts of war, but he would command them one day. And his chance arrived in due time. When demonic hordes invaded the dwarven domain, Hurndig had already grown to be a respectable man and a master of much renown. It fell to him to organize the defenses of several key outposts, a task Hurndig excelled at. Such was the precision and congruence of the Cruzia trains that not even the greatest of demon spawn and undead abominations could approach the walls under their protection, much less tear them down. For months, he traveled from one stronghold to another, shoring up defenses and guiding the garrisons to victory. And after the onslaught had been repelled, the king recognized Hurndig's effort by elevating him to the rank of chief engineer. Yet, that was not the end of the heroic tale. Shaken by the horror he had witnessed, Hurndig was among the first warriors who volunteered to venture into the world above to pave the way for the dwarven hosts in their quest for justice. It was no simple undertaking, of course. Hurndig knew he would do well to prepare before plunging headfirst into danger, and prepare he did. With the help of his wisest and most experienced peers, Hurndig crafted a pair of portable bombards that he could carry with him. Next was the hammer he had imbued with the fiery harpy of the forge, and enough gunpowder to bring down a small citadel. Outfitted thus, Hurndig finally departed his homeland and set foot to the surface, where the corrupting influence of Siroth still held sway. There Hurndig found adventures aplenty, battling evil at every turn and learning about other mortal races. Though he prefers to travel alone and holds loyalty to the Mountain King above all else, the chief engineer is nonetheless eager to fight Surath's scum whenever they can be found. Perhaps a crafty summoner could win his respect and his talents. So this is the story for Hurndig, and I really like it. I feel like it fits in so good with the dwarven faction as a whole. We know that some of the other dwarves that I've done stories for, such as Shrunda, that they have this kind of backstory where they're forgers, they create weapons, and they create glorious weapons. And of course, they're not afraid of battle. They're not afraid of fighting for their kin. And so they end up fighting against Surath and the demons and the forces of evil. And I love how they set this up for Hurndig, where even as a young dwarf, there he was being groomed to become an engineer and creating these weapons that the dwarves can end up using in their quest for battle. And it also fits in nicely with the Mountain King's story as well too, since the dwarves are working hard to come back to the surface, and Hurndig being able to help lead the charge in whatever way he can. I think it's a very nice, well-rounded story. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing, hitting the like, leaving me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Did you enjoy this story for Hurndig? What do you think about his story compared to some of the stories for the other dwarves? I would love to know what you think, and I look forward to sharing my next Raid Story Legends with you.